Okay, listen, pay attention, Africa. You see, if you do not understand history in context and in perspective, you are not going to understand what our brothers and sisters in Nigeria, in West Africa, are going to face in January in the hands of their government in this new tax law. Pay attention. You see, to understand what Nigerians will face in January regarding the tax reform, you have to understand what the entity that became Nigeria passed before now. Most times, people refer to Frederick Lord Lugard. He's not my lord, so I call him Frederick Lugard. If you do not understand, you are going to call him the one that invented taxation in what became Nigeria. But no, it's not. Let me clear the air regarding that. Lord Lugard did not invent taxation in what became Nigeria. What he did was that he standardized taxation. He turned taxation into what? A system, because he was a colonial genius. He was a colonial master because he has already tried it in India and Uganda. Let me teach you. You see, before Nigeria became what is known as Nigeria, Nigeria was first an entity. I told you in my previous videos that Nigeria did not fall from the sky. They were entities. After that entity, Nigeria, there was a company called Royal Niger Company. This company was in charge of the trade along the Niger. This company was led by who? George Gordy. Remember George Gordy? I have taught you about him previously. George Gordy. This was between 1885. George Gordy controlled the Royal Niger Company. This company did not only or did not just trade in Nigeria, in what became Nigeria. No, they governed that entity. They imposed levies on local communities, traders, and markets along the Niger. They used coercion and force and imposed those levies on the people. That was the beginning of taxation in the entity that became as Nigeria, because it was foreign. It was not local. It was different from what the people were practicing before they came. So what happened is that in 1900, the British Empire took control of that company, which is Royal Niger Company. So one man became the central head. Who was that? Frederick Lugard, whom you call a Lugard. I told you it's not my lord. So let's leave that title aside. So first, he became the High Commissioner of the Northern Nigeria. And later he became the Governor General of Nigeria. When he went to the north, he found a system that can help him enable taxation. So he introduced indirect rule. For him to collect these taxes, he needed the emirs and local authorities. The Northerners paid to the emir, thinking that they were doing what is traditional, thinking that they were paying to their what? Traditional system, not knowing that the money was flowing to the colonial treasury. So what happened? Trust was weaponized. Trust was used as a tool. Just like tomorrow, don't be surprised when one of your celebrities will tell you, let us pay these taxes. In that way, we can be as advanced countries. Don't be surprised. So what happened? When they came to the southern Nigeria, there was no emir to use. So they brought something new. What was that? Warrant chiefs. These warrant chiefs today is what you can call FIRS in your country, which is Federal Inland Revenue Services, because their service is the same thing, different name, the same occupation. What is the occupation? Collect taxes from the people. That is the occupation. So warrant chiefs has been there. Now they are asking and telling you they are going to use your NIN. They have used NIN before. Let me teach you so you can understand history in context and in perspective. When it was colonial masters, what did they use? You need to understand that taxation cannot work without identification. So the warrant chiefs counted houses, they counted adults, and they counted villages. Today they cannot do that because you are the largest black nation in the world. So what did they do? they need your identification, which they have collected years before now, because NIN was not a mistake. NIN was already organized and collected for this purpose. Yes, they are ahead of you. These guys are smart. That's what you need to understand. But what happened? In 1929, your ancestors said no. Women said they will not pay. It is too much. The colonial government responded with bullets. But what happened at the end of the day? Women fell, but at the end of the day, that tax was suspended and their colonial authority was shaken. That's why I tell you, you must do the about women. You must do it. Because if you don't, it will be terrible for you. Like Pierre Rule will always say, it must be done. Because it can be done. For if it is not done, Nigeria, you will be done. But I pray you will not be done. Because you will remember who you are. And you will do the needful. Not because you are rebellious. No. What you are resisting is not taxation. What you are resisting is not responsibility. What you are resisting is taxation without accountability. And that is justified. Africa. Wisdom is the principal thing.